So in a world that often tells us to do more and be more, we've found peace in doing less and taking things away from our lives to help us more and to help us thrive as a family. So over the years of motherhood and being at home, being a wife and a mum, we've found rhythms and we've been quite intentional about what we have in our lives, but more specifically what we don't do in our lives. And today I want to share with you 25 things that we don't do in our family. And these are prayerful things. We've thought about these things. They're not rooted in perfection, and I'm not showing them because we've got them all perfect. But generally, these are just rules that we sort of have in our family to help us thrive, really. I'm absolutely not sharing this to judge, but just to share with you, be a little bit of an open window into our life as a family and the life that we're building together. Sometimes it's the things you don't do that shape you just as much as the things that you do. So this week we are going camping, and so filming is relatively limited this week. So I thought it would be wonderful to just sit down and have a chat with you guys about 25 things that we don't do in our family. And I'm really excited to share these things, not least because I feel like I haven't shared a little bit of our personal life or how we've decided to live our lives. I just have sort of kept it quite personal, so it'd be quite nice to just open up a little bit and just share with you some of the things we don't do in our family. And then maybe if you like this, I can do more chatty videos like this and share a little bit of what we do and how we choose to live and why it looks a little bit different sometimes. So let's get into it. All of these are things that I do and I'm also continuing to build into our family. So it's not like all of these we do perfectly, but these are just rhythms and things that we are putting into our family rhythm to help us and to thrive as a family. So I've got my notes here on my phone. So the first one is I don't start the day without thanking God. And that is a rule that I really like to try and follow, waking up and saying, thank you, God, for this day. And then going and spending time with him downstairs on my own if I can. And hopefully I've started to build this into a little bit more of a rhythm into my days, into my mornings, which has been so beneficial. Even this morning, I actually woke up feeling particularly grumpy, particularly unhappy. I think just with holiday plans and packing and stress of children, it all just felt like a little bit too much today. So I decided to wake up, go downstairs and start journaling and start being grateful for what I've been given. And it really did help to shift my attitude and specifically thanking God for all the things that he has given us. So that is one very important part of our life. So following a similar path, number 2, we don't skip Bible time, we don't skip family prayer, we don't skip family worship when life gets busy. It's easy to, and it's easy to put that on the back burner, but that is one of the most important things that we do as a family, and we definitely do it every night before the children go to bed. My husband will read the Bible, we'll pray, we'll sing songs, do whatever, have a little bit of a mini family worship time. That looks different for us. I think we only have ages 4 and under, so it's definitely catered to toddlers, and so I'm sure that will change and be mixed up as we go through the years, but it's definitely a rhythm that we do every single evening, and we absolutely try so hard not to neglect that, even if it's been a really busy day or if it's late at night. Sometimes we might, I think that the least we do is just prayer time together, and we share what we're thankful for the day, and then we pray together, and my husband is really good at leading us in that. So that is the second thing that we do, but we don't neglect it. This next one is that we don't live for the world's approval. We do things kind of differently. I think in our community where we are, I think, having a family size that we have 3 small children under the age of 4. I feel like that's quite rare in general. I don't think that's a big family, but we get told we're a big family all the time. But yeah, I don't think that's particularly big at all. But we do have 3 small children. We are homeschooling. We don't do nurseries. I'm a stay-at-home mum. Yeah, we just don't live for the world and what the world tells us to do. I think the important thing in this is that we are faithful, and we are faithful with what we've been given, the way we dress, the way we raise our children, spend our time. It's all just being faithful with what we have. So yeah, we don't live for the world's approval. We're following a bit of a faith theme here, but I do have plenty more of what we don't do that I will get into in just a second. But just following this line a little bit more, we don't parent by the culture's standards either. So we're raising children who know that they're loved and created by God and called to serve. And we're trying to steward them in their relationship with God, and raise them by the Lord's standards and not by the culture's standards. So culture says raise independent, high achieving, self-sufficient children, and that's not all that we're going for. I think some of those things are good, but that's not what we're going for. Along that is number 5. We don't want to raise our children just to fit in. So we don't want them to look like everyone else necessarily. We want them to reflect Christ. And I think in today's world, it's okay to stand out, because in my eyes, it seems like you're doing something right if you stand out because of how the world is sometimes. I think it's okay to stick out like a sore thumb sometimes and stand up for what you believe is right. So moving on to more family rhythms and daily life is number 6. We don't eat dinner separately. We always gather around the table and we eat dinner together. There are a few days when my husband comes home and he joins us at the dinner table, but we don't neglect eating together around the table. I think it is absolutely vital for family life and family culture. So meals are one of the few moments that we can all gather together, no matter how different our days have been, but we can gather and come round the table, come round some good food, some good fellowship, and try and just be present with one another and enjoy that fellowship together. It's absolutely one of my priorities in the day. I think, even just down to the meal that I'm going to make and planning it and prepping it, I always try and lay the table nice so it feels particularly special. Whether that's just like a pretty jug of water and glasses and nice plates and maybe some serviettes or napkins, depending. Maybe prepare a nice pudding here and there. Just make it a special time together. And we have very young children, so sometimes it does not look particularly special and it looks like an absolute mess because there's pretty much food everywhere. The babies, it's just life with young children. But I'm trying to build that rhythm into our lives that the meal time in the evening is special and it's to be enjoyed together. And it is a priority. Number 7 is we don't do screen times during meals. So yeah, I'll try my very best not to pick up my phone at all. Try not to answer phones, answer emails, and Josh really tries not to answer work calls or anything. It's, again, valuing that sacred time together around the dinner table. Okay, number 8, we are trying to build into our lives, and that is we don't wait for holidays or vacations to rest. So I think I'm learning different ways to rest these days and what actually is beneficial for me. And I think there are different types of rest, like there's physical rest, emotional rest, other types of rest. I can't quite remember what they are, but I'm trying to build rhythms of rest into my days as much as possible. And sometimes that looks like taking a 15-minute nap in the afternoon. And for me, a nap somehow feels lazy, or in my mind, it's like, oh, you took a nap today. You must have had the most chilled day ever. But actually, I'm building that rhythm into my life of just taking 15 minutes to just either lie down or sit on the sofa and be calm and be present, or read a book, or just do something really, truly restful. Because I think life at home with children can just be so full on from the moment you wake up to the moment that you go to sleep. We just need to build in rhythms of rest in our days. And that applies if you're working all day as well. Sometimes it's easy to skip those breaks and not value rest, but it is absolutely vital. And saying that, I try and also build in a rhythm of rest during the week on a Sunday. So Sunday feels like a special sacred day. We don't do, I try not to do any chores whatsoever. Like, I am happy to leave the pots on a Sunday and I'll pick it up on a Monday, or my husband does it, or it's just a different rhythm that we have on a Sunday, which feels really, really beneficial. And I just pick it all up on a Monday. I have shared that before in a Monday reset routine, because I'm always catching up on a Monday, which is okay because I'd rather rest on the Sunday and just take it nice and chilled after church. So one thing that I'm really learning, and this is my number 9, is I don't believe in being busy as a badge of honor. I think a full schedule does not mean a full heart. So I think that means for us saying no to some things so that we can say yes to more important things, saying no to extra activities, saying no to volunteering to be on that rota again this week, or something else. I don't know, I can't think of anything else right now, but saying no to something to say yes to something that is more meaningful and more valuable for our family life and the busy season that we're in. Okay, number 10, we don't chase more just because we can. So we're getting into a rhythm now of trying to say no to the upgrade and just living at peace and being content with what we have. As our peace often comes through simplicity, especially in the way I manage the home. A simple home runs much smoother than accumulating a lot and upgrading everything and having less money and less time. It isn't worth it for me. So we don't chase more. We're trying to chase a full heart and a thriving life and a good family culture. So we're going to lean more towards the parenting side, parenting with purpose. Number 11, it's a rule I've set for myself, and I do break it sometimes, and I really don't want to. And it's really important to me that I don't break it. But again, we are so not perfect and life is messy sometimes. But number 11 is we don't raise our voices. And honestly, even today, I'm particularly challenged by this because I wrote this a few days ago. Today has been not so great on that front. I really, really want to be better. And by the grace of God, I pray that He helps me and strengthens me to do this. But as a general rule in our house, we don't raise our voices. I come from quite a loud family, even in conversation, like just being loud. Or the way to be heard is just to have a really loud voice. But yes, I don't want to be that kind of shouting mum, raising voice just to be heard kind of mum. I really want to rule that out of my life, and it's definitely a prayer point for me. That's a rule that I really try and follow. And sometimes a deep breath, a quick prayer is all you need just to calm down, or just leave the room. Honestly, leave the room just for a minute or two, get outside, get a fresh air. Sometimes I literally bite my tongue. You know the saying, just bite your tongue. I physically bite my tongue to actually stop myself from, walking in that anger or being cross or shouting or biting my tongue to try and stop doing it. Sometimes it's better to just be silent and say nothing. But yes, something I'm working on. Please pray for me. Okay, number 12. We don't compare our children to each other. So one child might be a bit more loud and curious, and another is quiet and slow or explores things differently. And I don't want to be the mum that compares them between each other. So comparison steals joy, and I don't want to instill that in our household, in our children's lives. And I really want to see my children for who they are and who they are made to be. So number 13 is that we don't treat children like interruptions. Children are a blessing. They're not here out to get us or out to annoy us. They're not interruptions. They don't slow us down even. I think they just show us what really matters. So I think their questions and their laughter and their stories, I think when we're stuck in our own ways, they can seem like interruptions and annoyances, but actually that is the story, that is their childhood. And so I don't want to be someone that kind of knocks that down or makes them feel like they can't be that way. I think there are times for saying, hey, don't interrupt my conversation while I'm trying to talk, but I think that's different. What I'm saying is I don't want to treat them like they're interruptions, And number 14 is we don't expect perfection. I'm working on this one. I feel like I'm a little bit of a perfectionist at heart, and so if it's not perfect, then I can really struggle with that sometimes. But in our house, mistakes are allowed. Growth is expected and good, and we should be ever increasing in our growth and in who we're becoming. And we're not raising performers, we're growing people. I'm growing as a person, my husband's growing as a person, the children are growing physically, mentally, spiritually, in all the ways possible they are growing. And so it's not about being perfect. We've not already hit the standard. We're heading somewhere. And sometimes it's easy to feel so discouraged that we're not there, but we're growing. Perfection isn't necessary in our house. So, another thing, I think what number am I on? Number 15 is that we don't make our children earn affection. It's something we just give. It's a free gift. We give hugs and smiles and kind words, and they're not rewards. I really want that to be the atmosphere that we live in. We just live in a kind home and a peaceful home, and you can always have a hug and a smile. I'm really working on smiling with my children and at my children, and just during the day in general, just having a smile. Being the mum that smiles around them all the time and smiles at them, not all the time, but, you know, it's just generally has a cheerful heart, and they don't have to earn that, you know, it's not performance based. It's not like they need to go about their day and try and make mummy happy. You know, it's more that I am just cheerful and I'm proud of them, and I give them hugs and smiles and attention and kind words, and that's not a reward. I hope that makes sense. Maybe it doesn't. Just let me know if it doesn't. Okay, so countercultural choices we've made is number 16, we don't send our children to public school. They're not going to public school. I don't know if they ever will go to public school. We've decided to homeschool for now. We are definitely open to strong Christian schools, Christian education, but right now we've decided to homeschool. If you'd like to know more on what I'm doing homeschool wise, what curriculum I'm deciding to follow, then do let me know in the comments below. I'd be happy to do a video on that. However, I am not very experienced in this realm yet. My daughter is 4. We have started a curriculum because she's so ready and she's so eager to learn to read, and she's doing really, really well on that. And I'm so proud of her, how she's just grasping everything. So we have started technically early, but again, I think that's, you know, when your child is ready to start. And my son, he might be a little bit different. And he turns 3 in October and she turns 4 a few weeks time. Probably by the time this goes out, she might already be 4. I don't know. Yeah, so I'm taking it slow, but we try and get stuff done each day mostly, but yeah, I can share more about that if you'd like. Number 17, we don't do sugar every day. We do honey, we do maple syrup in some of our things, but I generally try and keep our week to week sort of sugar free, not least because it makes such a big difference in my children. Along with that, I don't do seed oils and things like that. We don't ban it. It's not like it's not allowed in our house at all, but it's just something, it's a rule I generally try to follow as I'm cooking meals, planning out meals. I avoid seed oils, and we don't do too much sugar. It's really helped my son's skin. He has some skin issues and some digestive issues, things like that. So in trying to help him with his gut health and helping us all really. And sourdough bread really helps that. So it helps so much more than the normal bread. Eating more protein, things like that. But generally as a rule, we don't do too much sugar in our house. Number 18 is we do not keep every toy. I am quite simple when it comes to toys, and I do not like too much clutter. Not least, I think the reason I don't like it so much is because of how my children are when they've got too much stuff. It really doesn't help them. It doesn't make them thrive. Their play is just incredible to watch when they don't have access to many toys. Their imagination is absolutely splendid. They'll just pick things out of the sky and, you know, here's this beautiful, wonderful thing that I'm going to play with, and they pretend they're holding it. And it's not like we don't have toys, of course, and we have a lot of toys, but I'm not someone that really needs to keep every toy in order to make my child happy. I think they thrive so much better with less. So the fewer the toys, the more imagination they have. So I'm trying to quite consistently declutter, rotate through toys, and being a bit more mindful about what stays. And number 19, sort of along with that, is we don't buy everything new at all. I think most things we buy are secondhand, you know, or hand-me-downs, DIYs, charity shops, things like that. Yeah, we're trying to teach our children that value doesn't always come with a price tag. That's not where value is. It's not about the price or the brand or anything like that. I really don't want that to be a part of our house. And we're thrifty, try and value what we have. And we don't buy everything new. And number 20 is we don't say yes to everything. So I think a peaceful, thriving family life needs some kind of margin and boundaries, really. It's important to set up boundaries. And just because it's a good opportunity doesn't mean that it's the right one, or just because it's a good thing to do for that extra activity doesn't mean it's the right one or the right thing for the family. And this is all within reason. Like, we try and be a yes family to most things, but when it comes down to how well our family is thriving and setting boundaries, we like those margins, let's say, and we don't say yes to everything. So leaning towards more kind of intentional living and identity and things like that. Number 21 is we don't compare ourselves to other families. So what works for one family may not be what God is asking from us as a family. We measure by calling and not comparison. So what works for them may not be what works for us. We definitely don't compare ourselves to other families. Or try not to anyway. So number 22 is we don't measure success by the world's definition. So not by how clean the house is or how much money we make or how impressive our children are. We don't measure it by the world's standards. So success here is we do a lot of kind of cheerfulness and obedience and peace and love and all the gifts of the Spirit. That's kind of how we measure success, and we look at the fruit of our lives. And if we're not seeing that kind of fruit, then it means we're sort of being unsuccessful in some ways. It's not by how much money we make or how big our house is or anything like that. It's, are we thriving? Are we bearing good fruit? And that's how our definition of success, if that makes sense at all. So number 23 is we don't teach self above all else. You know, it's not all about me. The world says you do you. We say, how can we serve? Joy often follows the humility and humbleness, and serving, being a mum, is just like laying down your life as a servant. In many ways, you know, you're just constantly giving, constantly sacrificing yourself. And it's not all about me. It can't be all about me in this season anyway, but yeah, I want to be humble and I don't want to teach that self is more important than anything else. And number 24 is we don't forget to laugh at ourselves. I think this is so important. I was even laughing earlier at myself because I was being a pretty hard piece of work. Just kind of nagging, constantly complaining, just so upset about all I've got to do today to prepare us for our camping trip. And just being a bit of a grump. And then I just ended up having to, one, apologise, and two, laugh at it because it is silly and I don't want to be caught up in that kind of thing. And so it's very important not to take yourself too seriously. Yesterday, another example, potty training my son. Maybe I don't go into graphic details, but let's just say it was not ideal. Lots of things everywhere to sort out and clean up. Did not have a good time, but I had to laugh because of the situation. Maybe we will leave that up to you to imagine. So number 25 is we don't live life like this is all there is. Eternity is always in view. We are a Christian family, and that perspective shapes how we live. We are living for eternity. This world is not our home, and we are just passing through. And that perspective kind of shapes how we live and love and parent and thrive. So that is very, very important to us. So these are just a few things that our family don't do. Again, not because we think that we've got it all figured out, because we absolutely don't, and not because we want to judge anyone that does anything differently. Again, that goes back to one of my earlier points, is that we all do life differently and we all make different choices to suit our own family. So these are some of the choices that I've made, and we're not sharing this list as a rule book or a gold standard for family living, but just a quiet look into our rhythm of life. And I just wanted to be a bit more open with you guys. Every family is different, every home is different, and it's shaped by different things and different circumstances, and ours just happens to be shaped in this kind of way, and it could change, and I'm open for it to change. But these choices have helped us to live more intentionally, more simply, and just with more meaning really, and more aligned with what we value most. So thank you for spending these few minutes with me. It's been so much fun to sit and have a casual chat with you guys. Let me know if you like this kind of style. And I don't often ask you to subscribe or anything, but if you do enjoy my channel, then please do subscribe, join our community. I'd love to have you here, or like or comment. It really does help make the channel reach the people that it needs to reach, Lord willing. So if you would like to do that, then please go ahead. But it was so lovely to chat with you guys, and I'll see you next week post camping, which, yeah, we won't be looking too cute anymore. Yeah, have a lovely week, and I look forward to seeing you next time. God bless.